Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about another mistake that I often see with redesigns. And this is just the nature of the beast. There's usually a lot of people that need to be involved with a redesign. But if you want to make change, if you want to actually change placement and change courses and change outcomes, most importantly, this isn't supposed to be an exercise and just doing stuff to do it. The whole goal is that something actually changes for students and we have changing outcomes. You're going to need a lot of people involved. And that means it will go outside of the department. It will absolutely not stay within the department. And one of the mistakes that I see faculty make often, and this happens in multiple disciplines, but I'm in math, so that's the discipline I see, is we like to stay with our own. We want to talk to other math faculty about the changes we're going to make, and we're going to figure it all out. This is what we're going to do, and the magic's going to happen. But it doesn't work that way, because for the changes to be made, there will probably be programming changes that have to happen. The schedule, as I talked about in the previous video, the schedule is going to have to change. If you want those sections to get filled, you need to have people all around the campus know about the changes that you're making and are encouraging students to get into these new courses, or however you're designing things, if you have pathways, whatever. We want students to be using these new interventions. You cannot go it alone, okay? So what I typically see is one of two things. The faculty are basically going it alone. They're just like, we know what we want to do. We want to, they figure it all out themselves. They talk about it. This is what we're going to do. And then they hope, they're like, administration, this is what you should go for. Okay. Which is not always met with happiness. All right. Because again, think about faculty, put yourself in their shoes. If they go and make a bunch of decisions and come to you and say, this is what we're doing, and you didn't have any input, how happy would you be? You wouldn't. And guess what? That's the other thing that often happens. So those are the two problems that I see. Administration will go off by themselves. And I'm not talking about like one administrator. I'm talking about, you have like deans and vice presidents and people in different student services areas. And we'll have some kind of like cross-discipline team that will be making these decisions at a higher, more administrative level that's above the faculty level. And faculty may or may not be involved in those conversations. When that happens and they come up with something and then they bring it to faculty are not happy. And same as I said before, when faculty do this and they come to administration, administrators typically aren't happy either. I mean, just this all comes back to, honestly, it comes back to respect. Think about how you would want to be treated. If you were going to be, you heard there was going to be some big change in your curriculum, you would want to be part of that. You would want to at least be consulted. Does your opinion matter? Like, do what the things you're worried about? Does anybody care? The fact that they would care makes all the difference in the world in how the redesign goes. Because you can either be locking horns and it can be super, super difficult, which I see schools do this, and then they just go round and round and nothing ever changes. And that's what's so frustrating. Nothing changes. And who suffers for that? Students, okay? Because a lot of times we cannot get out of our own ways, both administrators and faculty, because we're humans and humans have different ways that they want to go about things. They don't always agree. And you get into issues of turf and, position and authority and there's all kinds of political and personal things that the human element that comes into it that can muck things up in a very big way. So how do you avoid this? How do you avoid doing that? You have to work across the areas that are affected, even though that's going to mean that somebody's going to be at that meeting that you don't want there. Okay. Take it from someone who has done all kinds. I've managed so many different work groups at so many different levels. And the key is have affected stakeholders there, including the skeptics. Now, you don't want 20 skeptics, but you can't have 20 oh, this is all going to be wonderful. Nothing ever bad could happen. You can't have that. You've got to have some people throwing in, but what about this? But what about this? And you've got to have multiple voices represented. It's going to take longer initially, but you will get further faster in the long run. But initially, it's going to be like, especially if you're an administrator, you might be like, what am I doing this for? I can just say this is what we're doing and we'll do it. But you're not going to have the cooperation that you need behind you for that initiative actually happen. People can drag their feet, or if it happens, it may not last. Okay, so what's the key? We have to all work together and get along. So I am going to make a shameless plug because I do this all the time and I want to offer this. If you are struggling with getting your faculty and or administration to talk, to get along, to make decisions and work together, I regularly mediate and work with schools as an independent third party. And it works really well because I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not faculty or administration at any of these schools. And so I can, I can just, I can give a different perspective and it comes off in a different way. So something to consider. Shoot me an email if that's something you'd like more information on. It's definitely something that I've provided with several schools, and it helps. A mediator sometimes helps, a third party. If not, if you just want to take care of it yourselves, just keep thinking every time you're at these meetings, do we have everybody here that's affected by this? Do we have their voice being heard in these decisions? Because if we don't, we're going to have problems. Okay, so I hope that helped you a little bit. I hope you'll take something from these videos about some of the common mistakes and it'll make your redesign work more smoothly and quicker.